Hi there, I'm Jeremy Owens, your host of Construction Executives Live. Thank you guys for being here. The live show bit me again. My guest is having some technical difficulties this morning. We're going to still try to get him on as I'm talking here a little bit. So just stay tuned with us for a second here. I wanted to just go ahead and start with kind of a couple updates on U.S. Construction Zone and Construction Executives Live. So I'll talk a little bit about that and then allow for you guys to go ahead and throw some questions in the chat function there. I'll be looking at them right now. This is your chance to kind of get to know me a little bit. And I hate to interview myself. I think this is kind of awkward, but I think that's where we're headed right now this morning. So thank you for being here. I see a lot of familiar faces and names and people who are signing up for this every month. I appreciate it. We do this show the first Wednesday of every month at 10 a.m. Pacific. And really what our goal with Construction Executives Live is to really talk about the important topics in our industry. Yes, we're interested in sales, and yes, we're interested in some of the things, the day-to-day activities, the operations and project management. We're interested in those things, but we really want to get to the next level of content. And for us, what that looks like is diversity. It looks like mental health. It really just has become more of a people-focused business. And I was talking to my buddy Matt the other day when he said, you've become a thought leader. I didn't picture myself that in this industry. I like to think and I like to lead. So I guess I'm becoming a thought leader. And I think the reason I'm kind of exploring this, especially with the live show and with the podcast and things like that, is that it gives me the opportunity to meet some really cool people. And not only in this industry, but outside of this industry, people who are entrepreneurs, who are leaders, who are, doing great things, not only for this industry, but for the country and the world alike. So I didn't know I was going to be doing that. I didn't know I was going to be doing a live show. I didn't know I was going to be doing a podcast, none of that. So I'm really excited about kind of how in the beginning it was about connecting executives in construction together. And I still want to do that. But now it's really pivoted into, not only connecting us together, but connecting you to the right people at the right time and the right messages. Like I said, we are a people business. However, we can advance this industry forward, leave it better than we found it, then that's what I want to do. And those are the kind of people I want to meet. Those are the kind of people I want to have on the live show and the podcast and the platform. So I appreciate you guys ingesting the content, being willing to hang with me, even in live shows when things don't go right. And this is the second time I've gotten bit. One was Dr. G was in Nova Scotia and her internet wasn't working. So this thing does happen, and I think live shows, a lot of people, they call them live shows and they tape them. This is legitimately a live show, and I think there's some dangers in that. So we're learning that right now. So again, feel free to go ahead and ask me any questions. A couple updates on U.S. Construction Zone. For those of you who are not a member yet, it is free to sign up. You go to usconstructionzone.com. You go ahead and do a simple onboarding process, a lot like a social media look and feel to it. And then once you're in, you're able to communicate with other executives. You're able to ingest daily news updates and things that are happening in the industry. This is not for any particular aspect of construction. Is for all aspects. We want to eventually have enough members in there to have little individual communities. So you can have a remodeling community and a construction community and industrial. There's a lot of different aspects we want to get to, but this is for all aspects of construction. So if you feel your job is construction and you're somehow a manager or level up, then we want you there. A couple of things that's coming down the pipe, and we will be kind of sharing this on social media for you guys, is we are going to be opening up a store, and that should be launching the beginning of the year. And basically what we want to be able to provide is things that we all buy: job site signs, shirts, hats, all the things, promotional items that we are already buying as industry leaders and executives. we're going to provide that for you guys as well. And so we're in the process of adding that to our store and meeting some people who can help us fulfill those orders. So that's going to be coming the beginning of next year. Again, as I mentioned, kind of in the beginning with this particular topic was I was going to be talking with Phillip Lanos, and Phillip was going to interview me a little bit. So, like I said, I'm not really a big fan of interviewing myself. I don't think I've ever done that before, unless I'm talking to myself, which I do. But yes, I'll get into a little bit about my background in construction, kind of let you know why I started this platform and kind of where I see it going in the future. So, with that being said, a lot of you know that I have two businesses. I have one called Three Generations Improvements, and we are a remodeling company out in Folsom, California, which is in Northern California. And we focus on exterior improvements, siding, windows, decking, things like that. So I am third generation. My grandpa Bob started in the industry in 1956. And unfortunately, we lost him a couple of years ago, and we're really missing him. But his leadership and his start in this industry is what got my dad started in the 70s in the industry. And then myself in 2002. I went to college and then got the piece of paper, and then decided to team up with my dad and really just keep the family business rolling. And it started up in Spokane, Washington, where my dad and grandpa were Owens Western builders, and it came down to Folsom, California, where we became Three Generations Improvements. And I can't say enough about how fortunate enough I am to have that business, to really treat it like a family business. It's not just a business. It is a legacy. Our slogan is, it's not just your home, it's our legacy. And that's the way we treat our projects. I don't know if one of my three kids wants to take it over, or one of my main man, Logan, he has four daughters. Maybe one of them wants to take it over, or one of my nieces or nephews. We want to leave it in a position to be able to continue. But that's not the ultimate goal. We don't have ego in it. We don't, that's not absolutely necessary that it goes to the next generation, but that's certainly how we're building it. And, that upbringing and being a third generation is kind of strange. I know there's a lot of you I've met over the years where, you're a family business. Some of you are even fourth or fifth generation in the industry. And that is, I don't even know how you go that far. I mean, it just seems so unlikely and difficult to go that many generations. But I guess the key to our success is that we never had too much pride or ego involved. I think we all have different skills and traits that are really positive things, and that are very different from each other. And being able to recognize those things from an early in your progression in the industry really helps, because then you're not getting in each other's way. You're not all trying to be the boss, or you're all trying to have the title. It's more about, hey, what are you good at? Let's make sure that we do good as a team. And that's the reason we've done so well. And that's, the main reason for that is my dad. He, does not have a lot of ego, and he does not, need to be the boss or have the title or anything like that. So that's the main thing for him, is like, he knew that I have certain skills, he has certain skills, and we're going to do this as a team, together. So anyways, that's the best way I can describe it, is that's the way it's worked. But anyhow, I mean, my grandpa, the differences between the 1950s, 60s, 70s to what I've done in my career, there's nothing familiar. Obviously they didn't have the internet. They had payphones that they went to. They always had rolls of quarters in their car to stop at the payphone and make a call to their client. So there's really nothing familiar to what he went through as trying to build a network and a team, to what my dad and myself. So I think that difference can be great, but it also can be challenging, because there's not a lot you could relate to. And I think that's what we're finding in the industry, is that there's still kind of an old school way of doing things, and the new school. And the new school is where we're headed. The new school, has diversity. It has women in construction, and it looks different. My grandpa, he didn't get to really see that new industry. So he looked at it and went, I have no idea what you're doing right now, Jeremy. I can't relate to how difficult that must be. So, I think that that is a challenge. I think the industry is going through some of those speed bumps of trying to give respect to the wise elders of the industry, the people who have, spent decades in the industry, worked their butts off, and done a lot of great work, to now the new school, which is, it's different. It looks different, but I guess we can respect each other and know that we each contributed to the industry, and now the new school has got to take it to the next level. And so it has been kind of strange to look back at my upbringing. I went with my dad in the 80s and 90s on sales calls, and so I got to really learn from a young age what sales looked like then, and now what sales looks like today. So there's nothing really too familiar with how my grandpa and my dad kind of started in the industry, and how I have. But the main component we have is respect for each other, and there's not too much pride or ego that gets in our way. So that's three generations improvements. The reason that I started U.S. Construction Zone, there's a couple things. I thought that we were missing an ingredient. So I met somebody at a conference, and upon leaving the conference, where you're sitting at a round table with other executives and exchanging business cards, kind of knowing that you're not going to stay in touch. You just kind of get the sense that, hey, it's nice to meet you, goodbye, kind of thing. And he mentioned something. He's like, I wish there was a better way for us to connect just as an industry throughout the year, because we have these questions, we have these problems, and there's no way for us to really connect. So that kind of boggled in my mind for a year. COVID hit, and we were really missing our connection points. We were missing our conferences and ways for us to connect. And I thought, I don't want to replace the skin to skin, the face to face interaction. That's not what this is about. This is about enhancing those moments and being able to connect at a quieter, more intimate construction group, as opposed to other social medias that tend to be, very distracting, and there's a lot going on. There's pop-ups, there's red everywhere, there's advertisements, there's, it's just hard to focus. It's very easy to get distracted, and I'm a main culprit of that. I feel like it's very easy for me to get distracted. So I just wanted to create a construction only group, and then be able to tailor all the content and all of the partnerships to that. So after creating the platform where we can connect, like I said, now is the chance and the time for us to layer all the education pieces. The podcast, this live show, especially when we can have guests. Not only that, but now we're going to be rolling out events page. So now we're going to be able to, make sure that everyone's aware of the events that are coming up this year, and give the ability to those people who have ownership of that event to promote it within the platform. Trade organizations, we want to have a list of all of the trade organizations, and give them the opportunity to communicate with us about their new updates to their platform or events, things like that. So again, we want us as executives to be pointed in the right direction. We're still working on our charity page to get you in touch with charity organizations, those that service the construction industry. We want to be able to point members in the right direction if they want to get involved, individually or as a team. So there's all these things that we're layering, including adding the live shows to our website as well, so that you can go back and look at some of the old live shows. We want everything to be stored there, and eventually we do want it to be a one-stop shop for construction executives. If you need information, if you needed to be pointed in the right direction for an event or a trade organization or a charity group, we want to be that place for you guys. So that's where we're headed. I welcome your advice. I welcome your suggestions. I think this platform has pivoted many times, and I think I want it to be your baby as much as mine, meaning I do want feedback. That's definitely where we're headed. And, again, I appreciate all of you guys for being here. I'm sorry for the snafu today. I think one thing we learn about the live stuff is that you can't be prepared enough. And these things happen where, guests, something happens in their morning. And I think we all have been there. I think in construction, there's always a fire to put out. So I appreciate you sticking with me. And again, if you have any topics in mind for a podcast or a live show, whether that's yourself or whether that's somebody else that you have seen or heard on a podcast or on a show, please let me know. My email is jeremy@usconstructionzone.com. I'll put it in the chat. It's too long and I'm having to type. Please reach out to me because, I'm always looking for advice and feedback and topics too. There are a lot of people who come to me with ideas and topics. It's not like I have a shortage of them, but I am really looking for those inspirational messages or messages that can really resonate with this group and get them to the next level. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me with those thoughts and ideas. Again, I do want to get into some serious topics. We already have. We've already got into the diversity. We've already got into mental health, and we're going to keep going back to that well on those topics. People subjects, treating our labor force the right way. There's a lot of things that I'm particularly passionate about. So I will certainly explore those as many times as I can. But I know there's other important topics as well. So next time we are going to be talking about the labor shortage and retaining top talent. I think this subject matter is vital. Obviously, I think that as we get into this new era of construction, trying to figure out that how we're treating our labor force, making sure everyone's getting paid a fair salary, making sure it's livable. I know in California that's always been a struggle for a lot of the labor force, is just having a living wage. So we're gonna explore that, as well as not only the labor end of it, but how to retain that top talent. I think a lot of us in construction, we hire somebody, they're great, and then we don't talk to them. We let them go do their work, but we kind of commoditize the industry in that we expect them to be loyal because they're being paid well. Well, unfortunately, that's not enough. We can't just pay well and not show them that we care. We have to provide loyalty. We have to pat people on the back every once in a while. We have to motivate them. We have to recognize them in front of their peers. Those are all things that I think we've struggled as an industry. We can't just hire somebody and then not expect them to get offered a job somewhere else for more money, and then they go there and you go, how could they do that? And it's just kind of what's happening, is that we've commoditized not only the labor force, but even a lot of the workforce as well. So we need to get back to better habits, loyalty, and really it comes back to the same thing I said earlier. This is a people industry. Every industry is, pretty much, but if we don't get back to treating people the right way, then we're in trouble. So we're going to get into the retaining top talent kind of subject next month. I think we're going to try to reschedule Phillip for the one after that, which would be January or February. So please stay tuned. I apologize for the snafu today. I will promise to do better and be better, and make sure that I'm not wasting your guys' time. For those of you stuck around and hung with me for the last 23 minutes, thank you. I didn't expect you to. I'm kind of thinking like I'm talking to myself right now. But thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning into Construction Executives Live. I am still your host, Jeremy Owens, and I will be again next month. And I'm hopeful that there are going to be 2 guests next month. And thank you again for being here. And I look forward to seeing you next month. Bye, guys.